All right, just send me yes, we back and reloaded. Yep. Sending a request.
Oh shit.
All right, cool. There we go.
Mm.
So, can you hear me?
Yeah, you can hear me still, right?
Okay. Yep, I can hear you.
All right, all
All
right.
right. So, we were talking about men thinking women want money.
Mm-hmm.
And just in our brief little intermission, it made me think about how there's this alpha female complex, right? That like women are almost too independent.
Mm-hmm.
But then we hear complaints like, well, women just want us for our money. So they kind of contradict each other to me in a way because I'm like, all right, do you want her to be independent or do you want her to depend on you?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want her to pay her own bills without asking you for help? Or do you want to show her that you have money so that she'll ask you to pay her bills if she can't do it on her own?
A big part of that though is like a man still want to feel like you with him for the right reasons, you know.
Hmm.
So I mean, yeah, they contradict each other definitely, but I mean, let's just be honest, like that's the trend these days is,
Hmm.
you know, use a man, get him for what he got, and then bounce.
Mm.
You know, so that's, I mean, that's what we deal with in this day and age. So like, yeah, again, a man would love for his woman to submit, and you know, like I said, I love a woman who I know she can do for herself. But if I'm doing for you and I can do for you and everything, I still, like, you know, we still want to know that you with us for the right reason. Like, if I if something was to happen, if I slip for a second, and you know, the money isn't the same in that moment, like, do you get up and go from there?
Hmm. So, okay, I've heard this before, right? And I think that goes back to the protecting and providing with consistency. And I'm gonna tell you why I think that it shouldn't be an issue of, well, if the man don't have it, do she got it? Because in some cases, so actually one of the women I was talking to, she's the one who mentioned consistency because when she first met her husband, um, they had known each other for 3 years. He always had a job. He was transitioning between um a job that he had and then going back to school, getting a trade. And so he was making money.
Mm-hmm.
And when they got married and he moved, he was no longer making the same kind of money.
Right.
So she was like, okay, like that's fine because they both were working.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, they've been married for 5 years now. And she says that he does not have the same drive as her. And so now he's working as an independent contractor, which means if his phone is not ringing, he's not working.
Right.
And so she has been carrying the weight of the finances for years at this
Mm-hmm.
point. And she's like, okay, she literally said, I feel bamboozled
Mm.
because when I met you and when we got engaged and all this stuff, you had a job.
Right.
But then we got married and you saw the money I was making. Feel like you didn't have to keep your job or you didn't have to continue,
With the same
um,
drive you
you
had.
know, bringing home the bacon.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's to the point where she she allows a portion of her check to go to his kids college fund.
Mm.
He does not do that.
Mm.
And like, yeah, we're married, but you had these kids prior to meeting me.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you gonna bring in more money? When you gonna contribute? And why is it that I'm going to work, not only making more than you, but when I come home, dinner is not cooked, the house is not clean,
Right.
taking care of your kids?
Let me ask you this. Where's he mentally right now?
You
How's his
know,
mental health right now? Was
I
he
know,
threatened about the fact that she was making more than he was and it broke him down? And now he's just kind of lost all will. Is he suffering depression? Because a lot of times this really impacts men and they don't really voice it.
mm-hmm.
And they don't really pay attention to it either because we're men. We don't get depressed. What is that? Right? And some cultures really do have a stigma against depression or mental health issues. And so you keep swallowing this, and then all of a sudden, you really don't have the same drive that you used to. You're really not the same man that you used to. And then all of a sudden, you meet a woman who thinks the world of you because of the little that you do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're so used to men who didn't do even the little amount that you're doing. And all of a sudden, you've got all your motivation back. Now you want to continue to prove to her that, hey, I'm capable of being the man. I'm capable of bringing the money in.
Mm-hmm.
So
Next left.
has she considered looking at it that way? Has she had that conversation with him?
Well, I ain't getting sis business like that. I know it sounds like I know a lot, but but what she did tell me was those things that I shared here, and she knows that I'm sharing them. And that, I asked her, I said, how do you allow him to still feel like a man even though he doesn't do these things, right? You know what her answer was? I honestly don't know how to.
A lot of times we don't because we're so used to
Yeah,
just kind of putting on the pants and taking charge and making sure, our life continues, right? Like, we're women, we're protectors, we're nurturers, we're the ones that kind of step up to the plate and make things happen when it seems like it's falling apart.
yeah. But
And
he
especially with us being so independent, especially with us, like I said earlier, trying to prove our point and our worth and our place here, we forget that, hey, we still have to allow them to feel like men because our ego and their ego are not the same. We're not wired the same. Our mentality and the way our brain functions is not the same. And
yeah.
most men do need that. Good job. You're doing great.
Yeah. But if he's not doing great, it is hard to say, you're doing good.
Well, he's
Like, it's very, it's very, I mean, so we spoke about that earlier, how one of the ladies said that she still made him feel like a man. She still made him feel like he was right. Even though she would go do her own thing, she made him feel like he was right. But that was with him providing, with him taking care of the kids as well as providing for the household. So now you have this man who is unable to provide for the household, nor is he taking care of the kids. And yet we should still say, it's okay, you're doing awesome. Like, she's tired.
no, instead of doing that, hey,
There's
sis, open another
Mm.
account, put half of
There,
your direct deposit into that account
there's
so he doesn't
always
even
room
see it
for
coming in,
there's
and then
always
say, hey, I
room
had
for
a pay cut.
suggestion too.
So now he has to step back up to the plate to help out. Otherwise, we're struggling.
Yeah, like you gotta have communication somewhere as well. Like we can't cause she might be expressing all of this to you, but has she expressed any of this to him? Like,
Right.
and granted, you shouldn't have to because a man should just a man when a man decides that he wants to lead, it should just be that, and he should lead. So if he feel himself slipping or whatever, then it be that. But he's probably not prepared because this might be his first time married in the first place. So you know, he was ready to lead and do whatever. And I'm not making excuses for him. I just know, like me coming from a home where no real father figure and trying to figure it out on your own, and you slip up and now your wife is the breadwinner or whatnot, it will break you down mentally. Me personally, like I can use that as my motivation to get back up to where it is, but at the same time, everybody don't think like me, and there's no telling what he's battling in his mind in the first place. Because
Right.
ultimately, the move that they made, you know, was it a move that he wanted to make, or was it a move that she wanted to make? Did they have to leave? Is
No,
it just that he, you know?
so she she moved and he agreed that he would move as well. I can't remember. I think she was going to school, and so she moved here and he moved with her. And so that was their agreement. She says that she has talked to him about how she's feeling. So I see y'all going up in the comments about communicating. She has communicated this with him, according to her. And she says that he does not feel like he's a man. And I don't want to say it that way, but in a sense that like he doesn't feel like the man because he's doing what the man typically would do.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's also giving him and certain information to be able to lead him in a certain way, where she's kind of trying to like give him advice
Mm-hmm.
and help him to get to where he was. He has a trade as well. That's something he can use.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so what she feels is that he is not applying himself as opposed to, oh, he just had a job, another job, you know, whatever the case may be. She says she doesn't feel like he's applying himself. And we all go through rough, right? But if he, and I don't want this to sound hard, right? But there's like, we all have to be responsible for our own, you know, our well-being, right? Like there's a part that we have to do before anybody can as well.
Right.
And so all she's saying is help out, right? Like even if it's not financially, you can help with the kids. You can clean up the house. You know, you can cook dinner, like take up. And here's my thing, right? Because we talk about women and putting um this position on women where, you know, men will say, well, if I'm protecting and I'm providing and I'm paying all the bills, then she should take care of the kids and she should um, cook and she should clean. Okay, so what happens in a household where one is out of the man and the man is not picking up the rest of the pieces?
Right.
And now you say, well, where is he mentally? Well, he you know, he may be less of a man because you know, not making the same kind of money right now. He may be going emotionally, mentally. That happens to women too.
Right.
You know, there's some women who don't feel kids and don't they're a good mother. There's some women who experience postpartum depression. You know, there's some women who have not been led by men, so they struggle with allowing themselves to be in a place where they can trust his leadership and guidance. It's a two-way street. If you see her going out there busting her behind, she's carrying 2 jobs and she's making more than what you make, you know, and you're intimidated by that. And she's telling you like, hey, here are some things that you can do to help you get back on your feet. And you're not open to you know, trying to better yourself after 5 years,
Mhm.
that's a lot.
Well, yeah, I mean that is, and obviously it's not just that simple to walk away at that point. Um, but yeah, like I said, it still goes back to. I mean, I don't know their situation entirely or what mindset he might be in, but and if she's communicated that like, hey, you know, well, since I'm doing this, you know, it's only fair that you should be doing that, and it's just not going. I mean, it's just not going the way that it should be. Then, I mean, I can only say, you know, at some point, either some counseling needs to get involved, or she just needs to walk
Right.
away. Ultimately, and I mean, you never want it to be that, but you know, I don't suggest that anybody stay with anybody and continue to be unhappy, no matter what your title is. Honestly,
I agree.
What did he say to her, raising the issue that, hey, I don't feel comfortable with me making more money than you?
Uh, you said, what did he say to?
She's voiced her concern, I assume.
Oh yeah, he said he didn't feel like a man. He said that of course, like, he flipped the coin on her and said, you don't make me feel like a man, you know, because
Okay,
you're
so did she ask, how would you like for me to make you feel like a man?
girl. I don't know, but you know what?
what would
Honestly,
you do?
5 years. I was just about to say, after 5 years, I would not even entertain that question.
But I
Honestly,
wouldn't even let it get to 5 years.
yeah, that too.
Like,
So,
hey, let's have a conversation. Hey, I'm contributing to your children's college fund. Like, we're married and I've taken on the role as their stepmother pretty serious. I care about your kids like my own. But I'm not seeing any assistance from you. So where are we at with that? Like, that conversation should have been had
Mm-hmm.
years ago, right?
yeah,
You don't want to wait and then have it kind of snowball into, you know what? For 5 years, you've been a bum. Goodbye. Well,
yeah,
for 5 years, I've been suffering because of this one thing that you don't do, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't voice what's going through your mind, if you don't voice your feelings, you can't blame anyone else. If you don't tell me, Miriam, I don't like this about you, I'm never going to know. I
Right.
don't read mind, right? So if she hasn't said anything to him in 5 years and all of a sudden now she's got a problem, now my question is, well, do you have another man on the side that's making you feel like a woman?
girl, she said something to the man about it, and he didn't feel like a man. That's what I'm saying. So I think it goes back. So the
But
point
why is she just now, after 5 years, saying something to this man? Why didn't she bring
I
this up
together for
years ago? Why didn't he bring it up that, hey, wife, you're making me feel like less of a man because of so and so, right? If they're choosing not to have this conversation and they're adults and they chose to get married, that's a whole disconnect on its own.
let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back. So they've been together for 5 years. I'm not
Okay.
saying, just now saying this is an issue. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
when I brought it up, but
Yeah,
I'm not
so we'll never know.
just now. And I'm saying that they've been together for a total of 8 years. The first 3 years he had a job.
Okay.
So after they got married and she had finished her degree and everything, and she got to a point where she was making more money than he was making, he fell back.
Bringing them into life.
So that's what we're saying. And
One of them ain't telling the truth.
I don't have all the details, so I don't want to say, like, you know, like, I can't answer all those questions. But I do think, like, even what's happening here is how a lot of those conversations go, where the man is not doing what has been expected of him.
Which is why we now have alpha women, which is why now we have independent women, which is why, because we've had to kind of fend for ourselves. So now that we are the way we are, because we've adapted, because we're humans, Now we're being asked, well, why are you the way you are? Well,
Mm-hmm.
because in my 32 years, I still haven't met someone that I can wholeheartedly depend on the way that people can depend on me.
But choices also have to be made, like, within herself. And I mean, honestly, she's choosing to deal with that. If
Okay,
she's had to,
let's get off, sis. Okay, let's talk
let's
about us and
let's
millennials. But I
let's get on.
can't this.
No, that's
I
why
think
that's
I
why I
think
don't get
those
in
two just
nobody
need
else's
to sit down and
relationship.
have a conversation with the third party that's
I was
not
just
part of it to help them out.
using it as an example to say there are some cases where there's a woman doing what is usually expected of the man, and instead of the man stepping up to the plate and repositioning himself,
Mhm.
he dialed back and said, oh, you're making me feel like less of a man, when in fact she has contributed to him getting to a certain place. She's
Right.
gone and she's done her part, and he's dialed back when he realized, okay, she's making more money than me. Maybe I can get comfortable. Maybe I don't have to do as much as I was doing. And that's her situation. And it's unfair because we're put in situations like that all the time where women have to pick up the pieces of a man's downfall. And I don't think it's fair because, like Miriam said, there's a lot of independent women out here who are simply saying, if you are coming to hinder my growth, if you are coming to disturb my peace, if you are coming to sleep on my couch, you have no position in my life,
Mm.
right? And
Right.
this is not only happening in the lives of single women, this is happening as well in marriages. And we can sit here all day long and say she should have had this conversation 5 years ago, and you know, what about his mental health and these things? But all those things can be taken into account just as well as he need to get his ASS up.
That is true.
Supposed to be doing as a man, because otherwise it's gonna be him and them kids and she gonna be off with her degree
And at
bossing
some
up.
and at some point, and not just her, with anybody, if it has to get to that point, then that's just, I mean, honestly, that's just what it is. Because, like, when you stick around and you continue to deal with that, um, and number one, it makes it harder for the next person, because what this person just put you through, you kind of you take from that, and you utilize it and learn from it or whatever else. But it's also being taken out on the next person coming into the picture, who, again, he is ready. He has it all together. And if he don't have it all together, he's getting it all together. So, I mean, in a sense, like, we deal with that as well. Like, men come in ready to put all of that pressure on them, and can handle it with ease. But the obstacles get higher and higher. It's like, you got to deal with that as well.
Mm-hmm. So she's requiring more of the next man,
Mm-hmm.
and that
It's
can make.
like, I just got out of this,
Mm-hmm.
and he was doing all of this, but then he stopped.
Yeah, because now
That.
every little thing is a red flag. Now you're like, nope, nope,
Mm-hmm.
nope.
Mm-hmm. For sure. For sure. So let's talk about this and really quickly. Um she says, let's talk about why women want men or their partner to pay all the bills.
Y'all say hi to my dog real quick.
Hey, Athena.
Hey, mama.
Hey.
Can you shake for me?
So
Oh, sorry.
what do
Hey,
y'all think
mama.
about that? Because I've never expected anybody to pay all my bills because I've never lived.
Me either.
Yeah, I've never.
So weird. I couldn't even think of asking someone else to pay my bills.
Do you think that if you were married, you would expect him to pay all the bills, or would you still want to pay bills?
So I'm a little old school when it comes to marriage,
Mm-hmm.
but I also wasn't born or raised in this country, so I'm still very traditional with that. I would expect us to have one bank account where we pay the bills out of.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very independent. I've always had a job. I've worked since I was 14, so I don't know how not to pay my own bills. So I
Mm-hmm.
would expect to have an account. If he's willing to contribute more, that's perfect. Then we'll have another account for something else. But I'm always about growth. I'm always about elevating. So if you're going to cover all the bills, I'm going to cover like a down payment on the next house we buy or a rental property or like I don't know how to stop in one place. So I'm always looking to grow. So whoever I'm with, it's all right, what are we saving for next? Even if we do need to open an account for a nice extravagant vacation, right? We're doing it together. So I may not be the right person to ask this question to.
I mean, it's a perspective because not everybody thinks the same when it comes to that. I think it definitely depends on the individual. Mario, what do you think? Would you pay all the bills, or would you want her to help?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind. Again, I don't mind paying all of the bills, and like, comes with for me that comes with me wanting to leave, and but at the same time, if I'm doing all of that, I need to know. I still want to know what it is. What are you going to be doing? Like, this is taken care of. That's taken care of. If we need to talk about something, if something's not going right or whatever, we can talk about it. But ultimately, if I'm out and I'm busting my ASS and I'm doing all of that, what are you doing? What are you doing to make me feel secure when I get home, so that I feel like everything that I'm doing does mean something, and that it is worth whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I'm working and I'm going out and I'm busting myself, and everything's taken care of, and you have all of this money I mean, you have whatever you want to do as you please. What do you bring to the table in regards to the relationship? Because you're taken care of. How do you make me feel as if, I'm taken care of when it comes to you? And it don't even have to be a materialistic standpoint, but like,
That's
how
a
do you
really
help?
good question. How do you want us to do that? How do you want us to do it? What's your expectation from women?
So for me, like I said, like, if I'm out and whatever, I would like to come home to a home cooked meal, um, a clean house. And even with that, like, I don't expect everything to be perfect. Like, I want you to have those days where, even if I'm doing all of that, like, go back to school. Like,
What if she already
start
has her degree? Do you want her to work or do you expect her to be home cooking and cleaning for you?
you say what?
I said, what if she already has her degree?
Interesting.
So do
Um,
you want her to work? Do you want her to be in a executive position or
I
do you
mean,
want her to be at home and be at
at
your every beck and call?
at the end of the day, that's completely her choice,
Mm.
and it
But
all
you're
it
saying
all
you want a
boils.
home cooked meal, so like
But I'm saying,
we all have.
in regards to, if she chooses to be a stay at home, like a lot of people would like to be, yes, then that's the type of stuff that I expect. But if you out and you running the Fortune 500 or whatever, then that separates that. But it all depends on what type of woman you're dealing with and what it is that we agree upon in regards to us getting to know each other, and then boom, now we're in a relationship. Okay.
Okay, so but this conversation is about alpha females. So we're alpha females, right? We're here, we're getting the stuff done, we're working our high positions. So what is your
And you're doing that,
expectation of
and you're doing that why?
what do you
Person.
mean? 'Cause I want to. So
That's
I need to
personal.
pay my
Yeah.
bills. I want to climb the corporate ladder because I want to be successful.
Okay. And when you have a man, that can deliver and can do the same thing that you can do and some, and he shows that, does your perspective change? Or is
Well,
that just
that's my
how you are?
question. So what do you
Well,
expect
I'm
from?
asking you personally.
I don't know if I would ever be able to just be a stay-at-home mom or wife or whatever.
But
Maybe
I'm
if I have
asking
kids, but
at some point, and you don't have to be a stay at home or whatever. Like, if you enjoy what you're doing, I mean, by all means, continue to do it. But in some aspects, do you submit to your man? Would you submit to your man?
and that's my question. What's your expectation of
Would
submitting
you
to
submit,
a
Miriam?
man from an alpha female? Huh?
Or would you submit,
Hmm?
Miriam?
But that's my question. That's what I'm trying to understand. What is
But
this
we're talking
submitting you
about
guys are
me.
trying to get at? What is your expectation? Mama, I'm making chicken for you. Give me 3 seconds. What's your expectation? I'm gonna warm it up for you. Give me like 5
So,
seconds.
so allowing him to be a man, like, well,
But that's my question is in what way? Like to me, a man is not just paying my bills because I can do that on my own. To me, a man is, hey, the light bulb's out. Let me go ahead and change it without her having to ask me. Hey, it's
okay.
Tuesday. It's trash day. Let me take it out. Hey, I
Mm.
know she busts her ass every day at work. I'm sorry, am I not allowed to curse? Let me go ahead and make sure, the dishes are done on my off day,
Hmm.
right? Like you see what time I'm getting home. And then I come home, like I don't have kids, but I have a dog, so I got to take care of her now. So it's like, where do you step in and help me out? And can we grow as a couple? Like I don't want to have to step back down from my position. I've worked hard to be in the position I'm in for me to please you. Why
Mhm.
can't you feel comfortable in your own skin that you are dating an alpha female? And instead of complaining about not feeling like a man, step up and be my man and help me where I need you, right? When I come home and I'm exhausted, make sure the dog is fed. When you notice that the door is creaking, make sure it's oiled up. Those are the things I need help with. Make
Mhm.
my life a little bit easier.
Mhm. Excellent.
So what is
And
this submitting
and
thing? As far as
the small things matter. I mean, but
those are the only
and
things that matter to alpha females. And I think that's the part that we're missing.
Mhm.
We don't care about your money. We're alpha females. We're out here getting our own.
but everybody's not thinking like you.
But
Everybody
we're
doesn't
talking
think
about
like
alpha
you,
females. So if you're
huh?
talking about alpha females, they are
And
thinking the same.
but how many people are walking around with that same title thinking that they're the alpha female and thinking
Mhm.
entirely different?
Mhm.
Again, that's your mindset, and I love it. I commend it. Like I respect it. And let me tell you, I don't hear many women even naming the little stuff that you just named, but they still go around as alpha females. So
Mhm.
that's why I'm
But,
asking, like,
we
what
can't
is your
talk
perspective,
about
huh?
if they're not about like I can wake up and call myself whatever I want, right? Today I want you all to call me a queen. Great, right? But if I'm not carrying myself like a queen, am I a queen?
That all falls under
So
somebody's
just because I
opinion,
call
though.
myself an alpha female, but I'm out here in these streets acting a fool and I'm not really actually about my business. I'm not doing my responsibilities. I'm not going to school. I'm not working towards something bigger and better. I don't have actual goals to work towards. Am I really an alpha female or am I just an aggressive, bitter, angry woman that's like, no, I know I'm an alpha female. That's why these men can't take me. No, you're a headache. That's why no one wants to be around you, sweetheart.
So
Then,
that's where separating the difference comes into play. I mean, it
Right,
sound
and
like to
that's my
me, it sound like to me because I mean everything that you're saying I completely agree with, but now it turns into separating females from what? And I mean, honestly, with everything that you're saying, if you're telling me that that's the requirements of an alpha female, then we got a lot of people out here that need a reality check.
oh yeah, of course, of
toot
course,
toot.
of course. But I think,
Let's take it to point.
so I love how Miriam pointed out the difference between somebody who is just calling themselves that and somebody who knows that they are actually an alpha. And of course, I don't exactly agree with the term, because I think a woman should be able to be exactly who she is, just as a man should. But if we have to say alpha female, we're, like Miriam was talking about, we're talking about the woman who has goals, right? And you can see her goals coming into fruition, right? Those are the women we're talking about. And as she just said, her 30-something years of life, she has yet to meet a man who understands she has goals and wants to meet her without feeling intimidated or feeling insignificant in her life. And she just stated how she feels like she's significant in her life, but still with a lot of men having sort of a fragile ego, they would look at her and say, she's too difficult to handle, for too much. She thinks that she's better than me. She won't allow me to be a man. And that's not what she's saying. She's saying, I don't need a kid. I don't need somebody that I have to take care of. I'm saying that I'm a successful woman who is independent, but if a man can show me that he is not going to be a headache for me, and I think a lot of guys need that, because I know personally, so that gets back to the question I was trying to answer earlier. Let me see if I'll find it. Oh, y'all been going crazy in these comments.
I ain't even read the comments.
Been going crazy. I can't. It's too many comments to go through. But for personally, I'm independent, right? And Mario, you had plenty of conversation about, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening.
About the topic where with me, I require certain things, right? And those things include respect, consistency, right? Being able to protect that, of course. And, you know, those are just to name a few. And even with that, communication. But these are some things that people don't really know how to do. And so a lot of guys will try to date me, right? I mean, all this kind of in our inboxes, ladies, I'm sure you see all these messages in the inbox like, hey, you're beautiful. What's your name? I'm trying to get to know you, blah, blah, blah. But they don't know what comes with it, right? You don't know that I'm the type of woman that can go on a date with you every day for a month. But when you start being a headache, you got to go, buddy. Why? Because you may have thought that you had me wrapped around your finger. We spent so much time together, and you know, it looks like we such lovebirds in a honeymoon stage. But you also have to remember that I always have with me independence. So I'm never afraid to lose a man when he begins to jeopardize what I have going on. There's been men who I've dated who have, and when I say date, y'all, I mean like literally going out to eat, right? But like, and try to get to know. They have hated. And I mean like hated. They will, you know, clap their hands for you in front of you, but like behind you, they don't really respect what you have going on, right? Calling you all hours of the night, expecting you to pick up your phone, giving you a headache, making you, have to have a conversation you wouldn't have had to have if you was by yourself. Come to your place, won't even take out the trash, looking at you to pay your half of the bill or theirs too, um, are consistent. And this is just like regular behavior, right? And then when you start asking or start putting to the forefront, like, hey, these are some things that are required and I'm not really seeing. Oh, you trying to, oh, you ask for too much. And those kind of guys get left on the back burner. Why? Because I have hope. I have intentions. I have plans. So if he is disturbing those things, then I have to let him go, just like a man would if a woman was, trying to leech off of him.
Right.
Are men intimidated by? A lot of men are. I personally do, just because that's been my experience. I'm pretty sure there's some men out there who are not, but I also think that men who have something going on and believe in what they have going on are not intimidated by a woman who's doing something. But I think that if he don't have nothing going on, or he looking at what you got going on, saying, I wish, I think he's going to be intimidating, and he's not going to allow you to be expressive, because every time you say something, you think you complain, you trying to belittle him, and that's not the case. It's supposed to be a partnership, but it's not a partnership. If I'm being the breadwinner and you sitting on the couch, or you expect me to cook and pay for everything, and still bear your children, and what are you gonna do, brother? So let's see what the comments are saying. You have a woman who is an alpha and the male is an alpha. They both should be educated and on what a relationship is. They should know their role in the relationship since they pay bills. I agree with that. Jackson, I don't even know what that means. Independent, throwing that around like Steph at the 3-point line. I don't know what that means. The main thing that ruins couples that are alphas mainly be egos.
Egos, yep.
I can agree with that. Okay, cool. Yeah. So, and I also think that like when you are independent, you do feel right? Like you do sort of gather a confidence, otherwise, right? So I think a healthy ego is necessary to be independent, but it shouldn't stay like toes. But me personally, I feel like I need a man, right? I feel like be nice, but that was the way I was raised. I was raised by a mom who taught us not to depend on a man for anything. And so we learned that if you want it, you go get it, right? But this also comes from a woman who not only was she independent and keeping a roof over our head without a man, and being able to keep finances stable without a man, physically being there. So my dad passed when I was 5 and my sister was 7, right? My mom had a long way to go alone, not by choice, right? So that's the stock that she comes from. Not only that, my grandpa, my grandpa and my grandma, they were once married, and the minute she found out that he was sneaking and creeping, no questions asked, she was out. And this is, back in the day, because my mom was 6, so this had to, be before then. And or at least around that time, And so I come from a line of women who ain't taking no mess, ain't playing with no man, because I've seen life be done without one, right?
Right.
And some people may say, oh, like, well, yeah, your mom was independent, and so maybe she, she raised y'all like that and made me and my sister think like, men aren't useful. Not true, and I'll tell you how. Because my dad did something that a lot of men today cannot say that they are in the process of doing or are willing to do. My dad provided for my mom even in death. That is what marriage is about. My dad worked his butt off while he was alive. And so when he passed unexpectedly, because he did the footwork, even in life, he was able to provide even in death, because he had saved for me and my sister. When me and my sister turned a certain age, we each had access to bank accounts of our own. And we were able to use that money for the things that he knew we would need later on in life. That's not something a lot of men can say that they're doing today for their children. A lot of men are getting up, running off, not taking care of their offspring, and a lot of men are not helping in the household, and they, use this, I don't want to say excuse, but they use this narrative that, oh, I didn't see a man raise me, therefore I don't know how to raise my children. Make your own narrative, bro.
Make your own rules, yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
not an excuse, because
Did I say earlier, you can either create and live by excuses.
yeah, my mom had to create her own narrative, because
My parents just celebrated their 40th anniversary.
wow,
They've been married for 40 years. My mom raised 4 independent children. There's 3 girls and 1 boy, and she always jokes and says, I raised 4 boys. Because each one of us will get our own, each one of us will do our own thing. None of us have ever had to depend on anyone. All 4 of us have put ourselves through college. You don't raise independent children just because you're a single parent.
Mm-hmm.
And you can continue to, again, play the victim card, or you can say, this is my life. I'm the one in control, and break that generational curse and create your own path.
And let me tell you something else, right? So we get into the topic about if things should be 50-50 as far as finances. If a man pays all the bills, then what is the woman doing with her money? I know we live in a different age. But I know for my mom and my dad, when they got married, obviously originally it was just them two. And even when they had kids, my mom always said my dad paid all the bills, which is why she allowed him to lead, right? Well, not why she allowed him to lead, but she trusted that he could lead, because she knew that he would put the money where it was supposed to go. He went all out at the strip club. He went all out buying bottles and showing off of his boys. He went out buying, racing
name brand
and renting sports cars, trying to show off for the next man or woman, that he want to try to pick up. He wasn't doing none of that stuff. He was a working man. He worked hard, and he paid all the bills, and he still helped with the kids. And so this man paid all the bills. and he saved for his kids. And my mama cooked, my mama cleaned, but my mama was able to still, she was able to have a job. He didn't keep her from having a job. I consider my dad to be a man because he was not intimidated by what my mom was doing. He knew that he had a position he was supposed to play because that's what he was honoring God in the way that he was leading his family, right? He had a commitment to God and then to my mom. So he knew that he was supposed to take care of his family. That's what he did, right? And so he wasn't looking for my mom to come and give half of her check. He paid the bills and he saved his money and he still did what he wanted to do. And my dad wasn't rich. He was just a working man. He still went out and had his hobbies because men say, well, if she, she gonna spend all her money on what she want to spend all her money on. That means you don't trust her. You don't trust that she's gonna put it back into the family. My mama never was required to put her money back into the family. She did it because that's what she wanted to do, right? But
that's what real women do.
That's what real women do.
Like I said, you invest to continue to grow, continue to elevate.
Right. And see, and when he passed, she had money too. Now she was able to contribute to what he already left to continue to take care of us. Right. But he asked her to do any of that stuff. So not only was he able to pay all the bills, he was able to save money for us, even through death. And then he gave my mom an allowance every week. Men ain't doing that because they always talking about, well, where her money gonna go? Well, what's she gonna be doing? And I just can't stand that. It grinds my gears because I'm like, bro, that's not your position. If you married a woman that you trust, you understand that she's going to be a real woman and she's going to sow her seed.
Hold you down.
You thinking that the problem is you marrying somebody that you think gonna spend her money on every bundle of weave. She gonna go out partying with her girls and she gonna be all over the place. And don't get me wrong, my mom not had her fun, but she was a mother.
She had her fun after everything was taken care of.
Yes,
she's priority. And shout out to that, like.
Cause y'all better not be talking about my mama and my daddy.
That's what's up though. Like see when you hear stories like that, like that's motivation, and we are in a different time where social media dominates a lot of people's thinking and whatnot. So you come from that, in all honesty. So like you have a full understanding and. Like that's everything that's what you've always known because that's your mom and dad. And
right. But even with all that, right, even with all that he did, my mom was still able to, after his passing, she was still able to raise women to say, but you better not ever need a man. Yeah, and I think that's what a strong woman says, because she could have easily been like, what your daddy did, you better go find you a man. You better go find you a good man that's going to pay for everything and he's going to treat you right and he's going to, take care of the kids and all that kind of stuff. She could have easily just threw us to the wolves, but she still instilled in us, even with all that he's supposed to do. Because I seen somebody in the comments say, is nothing wrong with a man that chooses to pay 100%. I'm saying that shouldn't be the expectation. No, it should be. For me, right? Any other woman can do what she want to do. But for me, it is the expectation. Because if I can pay for everything that I got and have something left over, a man should be able to do the same thing when he come into my life. If he come and I got to start helping him, I can do it by myself. I don't need no roommate. And then you put stress factor too. No, I can do it by myself because my mama told me to do it, and I've lived the life. I've watched her do it, and I've lived some of my life being able to do it as well. I've seen it, and a lot of men don't like that. A lot of men do not like that when you say in front of them, "Hey, brother, I like you. I think you're a nice guy, but don't cut up with me because you see what I got. It was here yesterday, and it's gonna be here tomorrow. Whether you're in this piece with me or not."
So 100%,
Eat them.
100% is your requirement.
Because otherwise I would feel like, can I say it?
Yes.
Otherwise I would feel like I'm babysitting. I don't have no kids.
Right.
And I think that's where the issue comes in between alpha females constantly being told we have to take it down a notch. Why? I'm already doing it on my own. What are you bringing to the table?
Does that 100% apply if he's making up in other areas?
Like what?
Like, I mean, just like as you were
But
saying,
you're going back to the same issue that this other lady was having with her husband, right? If men aren't making as much as we are, they have issues with that.
no, I'm not going back to that. I wasn't even thinking about that personally.
Right. No, what I'm saying is if a man is not making as much as the woman, he has a problem with it. He feels some type of way about it. Get off the table. Off the table. Y'all, look at this. Like, ma'am, get off my table. Thank you. No! Come get this cat, because I can't.
Are you saying like you said if he's doing certain stuff, if he's lacking in one area and making up for it in another?
Yeah, like does that
In what area though? Because we're strictly talking financially right now.
Yeah, he got on with the finance. I'm sorry.
Right. So that's all the question required. I know that we're talking about the finances, but I was asking outside of the finances, if he's making up somewhere else because the finances aren't 100% there, could he make up for it?
Now see here's the thing, right? So if we go to the relationship and he's been consistently providing and protecting, right? And then he comes into a season where he is not making as much money as he was when he first came into the relationship, or he falls into a situation where he loses his job. We built a foundation, right? So I can trust that, or I should be able to trust that when he comes into an opportunity where he's able to provide again, that he'll do that he won't get comfortable in not providing, right? That he won't begin to neglect his responsibility.
Right.
If it takes, maybe at one point he was just working one job and that was bringing all the income. Maybe he'll have to pick up another job so that he can, feel like, okay, I'm providing. Now, if we both declare, you know what, I understand, it's fine. You may be in a season where you're tired mentally or physically, and you just kind of need to recoup. I say for about a month or so. As long as we can agree on this time limit, then he can do that. Right. But that's not going to be our norm. Right. Because I definitely believe that, people need time. Like, even though I expect him to provide, I don't expect him to never get tired, because he's human. So he's going to need some point where he's like, all right, I just need to breathe, mentally, physically, spiritually, whatever that is. But don't get comfortable in that, because you got to go back to work. There's a there's a season for planting, and sowing, and there's a season for reaping.
Right.
don't get comfortable in just sitting down, because that's not your position. You're supposed to be providing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no reason why the woman should be in a position where she's constantly carrying the family. But that only happens when y'all have a foundation where she can say, you know what, I trust that you gonna get back.
Right.
So I'm not tripping right now, you know. Let's see, there are plenty of good men out here, just as there are, but the thing is the good ones get overlooked and the oh, that's a whole topic. Men call themselves good all day long. Garbage. Let's look on men when there are plenty, but you work at the bad. Oh, Jackson was trying to join.
Put Jackson in, man.
I'm afraid, but yeah, you may need some help, so I'll let him in. Okay, sis said, so what if he is providing 100% but lacking in other areas? Then what? Okay, so you asked that. Jay wants to know when you got your cat, Mary.
Who's got mine? It's my roommate's.
Oh, okay. Okay, let's see. Let's add Jackson. Y'all welcome.
Yeah, add him.
Oh shit. Okay, I've been asking for like 30 minutes, okay?
Jackson.
Jory.
All right, I've been asking about 30 minutes, but y'all caught me a good time in the Wendy's drive-thru. But man, oh my goodness, y'all doing my brother bad, man.
You feel me, bro? I
You're
can't
doing
even
my
ask
brother bad, man.
I can't even ask a simple question on here.
Where should I start? Okay. Where do you want me to start? Where y'all want me to start?
Oh, where would you like to start? Because you've had a lot of opinions tonight. So maybe we'll go with finances. What do you think about finances? Do you think it should be 50-50? Do you care where her money is going while you work? What you feeling?
Personally, everybody does it different, okay? So, I'm gonna put it out there. We all know everybody does finances different, but of course finances are important, you know what I'm saying? Because, love doesn't pay the bill sometimes, right? So, for me personally, I don't want to pay everything. You know what I mean? How are we supposed to grow and continue to live a happy lifestyle, continue to save if one person is paying majority on almost all the bills, if that makes any sense, right? So, I get it. You know what I'm saying? You said, I want a man to pay all the bills. That sounds good. That sounds great. But, not all men are going to have the financial means to come in and be able to provide in that way. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't, that's not a realistic thing. You know what I mean? There's, a small percentage of men who make six figures. Granted, 6 figures today is a lot easier to be made, but still it's a very small percentage, especially for minorities. You know what I mean? So, coming in and saying, I want a man to pay for all the bills, it's good, but it's a small percentage of men you're gonna be able to find to do that, especially today.
Right.
So, that's kind of how I feel about finances.
And that's why I was asking, like if he can't provide in financial ways 100%, is there any other ways that he can make up to where that's not an issue?
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's some women who don't mind that. But
What would you have to offer though? Like, what other way would you provide?
What do you mean? Are you talking to us as us, or are you
Yeah,
talking
in general.
ask the full question? I'm confused by the question.
So you're saying if we can't provide 100% financially, is there, like, can we provide by something else? Yeah, absolutely. But what are you offering?
I mean, what do you need?
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, it's one thing to say finances. Finances is a very easy thing it's very concrete, it's black and white. But if you're asking what can a man offer, I mean, it's specific to every woman that you're dating, right? So what do you want? What do you need? Maybe we can offer that.
are you saying that you'll be able to provide whatever she needs?
That's not what I'm saying.
Or do you?
I'm saying, you know, if there's other things outside of finances that I can't control, what else can I do that I can do to fill in that gap?
So what I'm challenging you to do is to think of some specific things that you know you can do, some specific characteristics you possess that it may appease a woman of your liking.
I can't answer the question because finances is black and white. That's black and white. You're asking me what can I give a woman? It's what does a woman want from us as a man? You know what I'm saying?
No,
So here,
we understand it's going to be different for every woman, but what do you think, like, what do you think are some things that you could bring to the table that would counter off balance that financial part, right? Like I told you, so alpha females pretty much have their own. They don't need the financial part, right? We need the support. We need the motivation to, hey, continue to strive harder, continue to grow, continue to go up that ladder. So do you have that confidence and comfort within yourself to be able to say, I'm okay with her being the CEO and me being a janitor or whatever?
So
Like,
that's kind of like two different questions there, right? You're asking me what can I provide, and you're asking me will we be okay with a woman being the CEO or because she's an alpha female? That's two different things. If a woman is
okay,
the money maker or the bread maker,
let me
what's the issue?
interject. So I think that there's, and y'all are showing why men in fact need women, because we challenge you to a different perspective, right? So even with us asking what are some things that you can just bring to the table as an individual outside of finances is a challenging question for not just you, but a lot of guys, right? But this is something women get asked all the time. Like, well, if y'all ain't paying for nothing, what do y'all bring to the table? And I find
So
it interesting that men are finding it difficult to answer, but women have to answer it. Because the woman can say, okay, I may not be able to pay for nothing, but if you got kids, I'll take care of them. If you're hungry, I'll cook. If you're tired, I'll rub your back.
those are things that a man should do. Am I wrong? If he's with you and you have kids, he should be taking care of those kids. If you're a woman loving a man, he should be able to do those things that are non-negotiable, things that you shouldn't be asking for, right?
Yeah, that comes with you in the first place.
So that's
Oh,
that's
please.
it's
That's established to begin with, I would think.
right. So you're asking me. Hold on one second. You're asking me. We're talking about financials, right? Which is black and white. You're not asking about things like emotional support and things of that nature that we should be doing in the first place.
No, yes, we are. That's exactly what we're
that's
asking about.
exactly what we're
Oh well, I
asking.
mean, if that's what it
What
is,
can
then yeah,
you
of
give outside?
course. Then of course, we'll be able to provide that. That's something I think, as the other gentleman in the chat
Saying not
here,
a
I
woman
think they would agree.
has.
I'm
I
sorry.
noticed that so much.
I
You
think
guys are on a lot. Well, I won't say you guys, but a lot of guys are only able to answer the question after the woman has.
I don't. I'll agree to disagree. I'll agree to disagree
Jackson, you because we
because I mean,
for it.
just kind of listen to what I'm saying though, right? Your
Uh-huh.
financials is black and white, right? It's either you got it or you don't have it, right?
Mhm.
You're asking me what can a man provide outside of financials that is something that's so concrete. If you're talking about emotional support and emotional
What
stability,
can you offer? That's what we're asking. That's all we're
right?
asking. What can you offer? You're
That
asking, can I offer something else
that should be
if
an
I can't offer, if I'm not
that should
100% with your black and white cash finances?
that should be an
So
obvious
what
though,
we're asking
right?
is, what is it?
That should be an obvious, right? Like
No, that's
emotional
not.
support. I'm my bad. I'm sorry for
For a
assuming,
lot of
right? My
men,
bad.
that's not obvious. For a
Okay.
lot of men, asking for that is considered nagging.
Hold on
Okay. So
hold on one second. I'm about to get a 4 for 4. Hold on one second.
Same
No,
Jackson.
boy,
Not a
boy gotta
single
eat.
thing has changed.
Boy gotta eat. You dig?
He got a lot to say today.
Can I get a number one?
Consistent.
Or maybe he's speaking
Let me get
crazy.
a double.
He hungry.
Let me get a Sprite. No, no cap. Let me get a medium, please. No, ma'am. That's all. Thank you. Thank you. All right, I'm back.
So let me ask you this: without mentioning the things that were just said, are there? Give me just
The,
three good ones
the
that
things I said.
you can bring to the table if you don't have a dime in your pocket.
I'll be able to provide that emotional support, right? Which is something I said now. Hold on now. It's something I said. All right. The emotional support. Whenever you come home, if I'm not the breadwinner, then I think a man should be able to make the house a home as well, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
You
Right?
tell us
I'm just
if
saying,
it's correct.
that.
We're asking you.
What's
I'm,
that?
I'm listening. Mm-hmm.
And just being able, and just being there for women in general, right? I think those are the three important things. If a man doesn't have those financial stability and that financial, assistance that he's able to provide, then those are three easy things, obvious things that a partner should be able to provide, right?
Okay. Okay. Good answer. Good answer. Let's
I
do the
mean,
comment.
But does that work for you, Jory, specifically? Does that work for you?
What, him making the house a home
Yeah.
and him emotionally supported?
Yeah.
And what was the other thing you said?
just being there in general. Like my
Being there,
boys, like
like
my boy over here, that guy Gavin. He says safety,
your phone was breaking up.
safety. My boy Gavin says safety. He's in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Does that work
Um,
for you?
does that work for me?
Yes.
Well, I think we know where I stand.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
It
Out here.
doesn't work. So
Yeah. But see, that's okay because just because I'm a woman does not mean I'm your woman. And I understand that. And some people try to make a woman conform. That's why I was wondering about that word earlier. Like, what does conform mean? Because, well, what did conform mean in the way that she was putting it? Because just because it doesn't work for a particular individual doesn't mean that it's an incorrect perspective. That's your take.
Are we
Um,
not going back to square
what
one
about
though, with
what
men
about
not
you?
being able?
Does that work for you?
Absolutely not. You're not gonna come sit on my couch and act like, oh, I'm there emotionally for you, so that means I don't have to work. You're gonna go out and work.
What?
What,
If
what,
you
So
don't work
I,
as much as
I didn't hear any of that.
that's pretty crazy, man. That's pretty crazy.
what?
if you buy a woman a house, she would turn it into a home. If you give a woman marriage, she would give you children. Real women can always reciprocate. Come on, sis.
I mean,
Look, if
that's
you're sitting on the couch and thinking you providing me emotional support is gonna be enough, no.
if a
But
man
we
is
but we
not
said
able to be there financially, that's not. So you're basically saying if a man is not financially stable, it's not enough.
Correct.
That's crazy.
Why?
Because I think that, and it's gonna be one hell of a comment, but as a woman, if you saw a man that did not have anything, would you go after that gentleman?
No.
If a man
Why
sees
doesn't
a
he have anything,
but hold,
Jackson?
hold
If
on
he
one second.
doesn't have anything,
Hold
does
on
that
one
mean
second.
he's not motivated enough to have it? And if he's not motivated enough to have it, not disciplined enough to create it, why am I going to waste my time with someone like that?
So
See,
if a
somebody just
We're at a different age group now, right? We're
no,
not
no,
in high
that's
school where it's like, oh, you're not working at the
that's a
movie
fact.
theater. That's fine. I'll
But
pay for our date. We're in
but you
our
also know
30s, like,
that life happens as well, correct? Things do happen.
but
So,
that's
but
what
if
I'm
a
saying.
if a
Why
man
doesn't he have it?
I mean, there's
Hold
multiple,
on. Okay.
there's different circumstances, right? So
That's
if
Ooh,
a
these
man,
two.
it's true though, right? If a
Mute.
man sees a woman that doesn't have a lot, he will still go after that woman, right?
But what
In
is
most
she bringing to the
circumstances.
table, right? That's the first thing you guys ask.
I'm sorry.
What is
Okay.
she bringing to
I
the
said the
table?
first thing that we ask is what is that one before we pursue a woman, the first thing we ask is what is she bringing to the table?
Okay.
Yeah, bro. What's up, bro? 990. Appreciate it.
All right. So while let me just put a pin in this so we can look at the comments as well. So somebody just said, but you ain't got a dime. How
Would you
could you
like any
not be
sheets?
motivated?
No, no, thank
That
you.
emotional support gets old. Cause where's your identity then? That
What?
is a lot of guys find their identity
Thank you.
in their but very that are you not
Thank you.
motivated? And then
You too, man. Take care.
it said financial stability does not mean breadwinner. Very true. So even if you are not paying
Right.
where you're able to pay all the bills, you should definitely be financially stable to the point where if she is asking you for something,
No,
or
I don't even need to ask you for anything. I just don't want you on my couch where you're providing me emotional support.
right, or without even having to ask
Have
you,
your own couch.
be able to do it.
But
And
Mhm.
with things like this,
being a being a breadwinner is not necessarily what we're talking about, though. All right.
Yeah, because
we're talking.
what I said was if he can't deliver 100% financially, I never
Mm,
said if he just couldn't deliver at all.
Right.
mm-hmm.
And then
I
the
said
question.
Well,
if he couldn't deliver 100% financially, is there other ways that he could make up? I think y'all took
absolutely.
that and
If
said
he can't deliver
Hold
100%,
on,
but not if
hold on.
he can't deliver,
Let
period.
let
Jackson's
my boy
saying,
talk, man. Let my boy
period.
talk.
yeah, because like I feel like the conversation has shifted, and we like y'all took it as us saying that somebody doesn't have the finances at all when we were talking about not having it 100%. Is there other ways that he could make up? And then it shifted to, well, how would he make up? And then it just turned into, well, if he's sitting on my couch, then
Well,
no.
that's because it went from all of that to if he doesn't have a dime to his name. That's a different story.
I don't. I don't see where the conversation went that way, but similar to what he was saying, that wasn't the beginning of the topic, right? So, he asked not 100%, and he asked what can we provide. Those are the things we can provide. We're not talking about a breadwinner at all, right? Because a woman can be that alpha, she can be the breadwinner. You know what I'm saying? Of course, I would assume majority of women want the man to be a breadwinner because that's the typical quote unquote is what a man's supposed to be, and that's what a lot of people want a man to be, right? Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me I'm lying, or is that a fact?
For me personally, yeah, you. Well, I don't want to say
So if the
breadwinner,
man,
but 100% of the bill should be able to be paid by you.
all right. I
I
mean,
don't. I don't. I don't really think that that means breadwinner.
but we're talking about a mortgage. We're talking about the electricity. We're talking about the insurance. We're talking about the car notes. We're talking about majority of all the bills in the house that takes up a big portion of a check. So I think 9 times out of 10, you are talking about the breadwinner,
Well,
and that's a
so
fact.
those are things that are typically paid for in adulthood, with or without a partner.
But
So
we're
that's why
talking
I'm
about
bread.
both. We're talking about everything, right? We're talking about your note, your insurance, our
Yeah,
mortgage.
it doubles
My
with a
car is
partner.
so he doesn't have to worry about that.
I'm just saying, eventually you're gonna want a new car. I mean,
It's all
people will want new things, right? We're talking about in general. We're talking about 30 years of marriage, 40 years of marriage is what we're talking about. You're not gonna keep that same car forever. We're talking about majority of everything that's being paid for. And if you have kids, you're also talking about those.
buy me a new car.
Jackson, what are you trying to get at?
I
No,
would.
I'm not trying to get at anything. She says she wants a man to pay 100%. We're just continuing on the conversation just to talk about, is that something that you could look outside of as well, because you are asking for a lot in most cases.
Yeah, but
Why are we asking for a lot? You're asking for alpha females to
I didn't ask for
take a
anything.
step back, but
I didn't ask
that's
for
what this whole conversation is about, right?
but
Is can alpha females submit? So alpha females are saying, hey, if I'm able to do everything on my own, and you want me to submit to you, we need you to do everything on your own as well, and then assist us so that we can take a step back.
So
But
does a
if
man need to
you're
pay
coming into my
100% in
life,
your case in order to
what?
qualify for you? So does a man need to pay 100% in your case to qualify for you?
No, not at all.
All right, but the conversation was leading to it had nothing to do with alpha, right? The conversation is really about why millennials are not submitting, right? That doesn't necessarily mean alpha. And then we moved and gravitated towards more of the financial sectors, which is why I jumped in, right? Because I've had this conversation quite often with people when they're saying, they want their partner to pay for majority of the bills, but you really got to think about, paying for majority of the bills that's a feat, that's a task. That really is a task, and you're looking for a percentage of men that 9 times out of 10 probably won't be able to pay for all that, or people in
yeah,
general, right?
women can pay
Because
for it. Why can't a man?
I'm sorry.
What I'm trying to figure out is if a woman can pay for it, because all the things that you just named are things that adults typically pay for. So if you come into the household with someone else, those things still are going to get paid. Whether you have somebody there or not, they're going to get paid. So why is it different? You know what? I've noticed a
Because
lot of people don't live on their own as well, so that may be hard for them to have a conversation about too.
I mean, I don't think that's necessarily the reason why. I think it's because we're talking about, of course, we're talking about things that adults should pay for. You're 100% correct on that, and I'm not going to disagree with you at all. But we also got to understand that we're talk we're talking about a large portion of finances, right? And again, I would like to go back to, if you find a great man who is willing to do anything and everything for you, and he's not able to afford to pay for all your finances,
And his.
you're gonna leave that man because of that. Because granted, what you're saying is right. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But there are great men out there who
But
just.
that's not what we're saying, Jackson. That's
But that's
that's
what
not
she's
what we're
saying.
saying at all. If there's
But that's kind of what she's saying. What she prefers, which is 100% okay. That's fine. But what she prefers is a man, quote unquote, to be a man, right? To pay for everything. But you can't necessarily overlook the fact that there are great men out there who will do right by you, but can't necessarily be able to pay for all of the expenses and all of the things that have to be paid for in the household.
But does this great man who can do everything for me motivated enough to want to do it? Because if he is, he will find a way, and that's the difference.
100%. And we can always say that everybody wants to achieve and be great and do things to a different standard, but some people are not going to be able to get to that particular standard, whether it's roadblocks in the way, whether it's multiple different things. But that's not necessarily what we're talking about. You can find a great man who's motivated, but maybe he's happy in a particular career that he's in, and he doesn't want to continue to move up because he's happy and content, right? Because you can't overlook the happiness of a man because you want him to pay for everything, right? And granted, he wants you to be happy too, right? Because happiness comes in twos, correct? Happiness comes in twos.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you want a man to be happy, he wants you to be happy, then we should submit. Back to the original question of the entire Instagram live, right?
Wait, what
For
was
the
that?
crickets.
No,
I'm
no, no.
saying,
Question, because you said
I'm
a lot, so
saying,
I'm trying to keep up, but I
I'm
had a.
saying happiness comes in twos, right?
Huh?
And if you want to be happy and you want your man or woman or partner in general to be happy and they're content where they are in life, then you should be able to submit, correct?
So just because he's comfortable and in a position, it should be okay for him not to be
That's
uncomfortable to grow.
that's not what I'm saying,
That's the part we're
right?
not okay with.
That's not what I'm saying, right? We're talking about submitting, right? We're not talking about somebody not wanting to run and reach for $100,000 or run and reach to pay for all the bills. We're talking about you or me as a person being able to submit. And if a person is not able to financially be able to be there for you to pay for all the bills, you're not willing to submit. That's what I'm hearing.
I think you're picking and choosing what you want to hear.
I'm not. I'm not. Tell me what I'm saying is wrong.
You're trying to twist our words into we're gold diggers and all we want is a man to pay our bills.
I did not say any of those
And if he's
things.
not paying our bills, he ain't worth shit. And he can.
Let the she answer the question.
It's hard to answer because a portion of
It's
what I'm
not
saying
hard to
is
answer at all because
that
all it is, hey, can we be a team and build together or not? If you're going to sit on your tail and say, well, you know, I like my job, I'm comfortable here, and you don't want to continue to grow, and you're not comfortable with being uncomfortable, you're not comfortable with the growth and the growing pains, you're not going to be able to deal with someone who is continuously trying to climb the ladder, working towards that ladder. And that's the difference between want, right? I want to be called a queen, and I'm doing queen things to get to being a queen, to be respected like a queen, to be treated like a queen, right? So it's, do I want to be, do I want to sit here and call myself an alpha female, or do I do the things that identify me or put me in the category of an alpha female because of the way I carry myself, because of the way I do things?
Hold on, Miriam. Let me address something in the comments, because this is what I'm open for everybody giving their perspectives, but what I'm reading right now is a lot of guys, and I think it's disrespectful, and it won't be happening here on my live, where you can say we can even go 90-10, but I'm not paying everything, and I'm making it cute because this is not what he's saying. I'm not paying everything, and all you're doing is cooking, cleaning, and having sex with me. Let me tell you something about a woman. A woman can take anything and reciprocate it. And I'm not talking about a girl. I'm not talking about some little something you just found on the streets. I'm talking about a woman. Women bring life. You would not be here without the help of a woman. So never will you, on my life, amount a woman to the responsibilities of cooking, cleaning, and if that's what you amount a woman to, this is not the lie for you, and you can step in, bro. And I mean that.
yeah, you said that. That's facts.
So
That's facts.
back to this. Jack, what I'm saying is that with my standards, because obviously Miriam's looks a little different than mine.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying is I would like for a man to pay for everything.
Nothing
And
wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all.
and I
100%.
think with the fact of me paying for everything on my own and still being able to save and invest in my business and eat the things that I want to eat, y'all see, I'm somewhere, having a
Hungry.
good time. And so I'm still able to do the things that I enjoy, and I'm still able to do the things that are building my future. So when I meet a man, I expect for those things to be happening in his life as well, right? And when I come along, I'm not adding to his plate. I'm increasing his plate size, if you know what I mean. I'm coming to show him how to grow. A woman is a helper, right? The man is the leader, and a woman comes to help him alongside leading, as long as y'all are going to the same place. So if a woman comes into your life and she's not able to shift your perspective, or she's not able to increase your net worth, then that may not be the woman that God has ordained for you. If she's just coming in and you feel like she's a chore to keep up with, or she is just, you know, kind of riding your coattail, allowing you to pay for everything, and she has to do absolutely nothing, then of course she's going to be looked at as a hindrance. But I believe when you find a woman with good stock, good value, a good head on her shoulders, she doesn't even have to sleep with you for you to understand that she's a good woman. Then you won't feel like, dang, why I got to push out this 100%? What's she gonna be doing?
Let me ask you a question real quick.
Mm-hmm.
If not if, because you will, right? We want to speak things into fruition, and things are going to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you do find this man who is willing to submit to your needs, right? Because that's what the whole conversation is about, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And you move in together, but you're not married. Do you care if that man asks what you're doing with your money?
Oh, excuse me. No.
All right,
That should
cool.
be a conversation you have as a team
Yeah.
and figure out where you're putting your finances. Like, you should always be building together.
Yeah,
What if
that
we
is
are saving? Like, hey, I'll pay the bills, you save for the wedding.
that is a fact. And
I'll pay the bills, let's
and I
say we don't want to get married. Let's say we don't believe in marriage, whatever.
and
You
I
save for a house.
and I think it'd be easier to save if not one person is paying for all the bills.
But what makes you think that
But it
you've
makes no difference who's paying the bills if
hold on. What makes you think that you've married or come into a long-term relationship with a woman who is going to sit on her hands and sit on the money that she's made alongside you, and she won't sew it back into the family?
Say that one more time, but be more specific in what she's willing to sew back into the family.
So what I'm saying is, you're saying, okay, well, if one person is paying all the bills, how are we going to save?
Mm-hmm.
So your paycheck may be going towards the bills, right? But that doesn't mean you're left without a savings because you have a partner. So
Correct.
if you trust your partner, you trust the person that you've agreed to do life with, then, and you married somebody, or you're in long-term relationship with somebody that you would want to be, contributing to the family in some sort of way, shouldn't you be able to trust that he's not going to just be selfish with the money, that where you lack, if the kids need something that you have no clue of, she'll pay for it? Or if she wants to, pay for the family vacation, she'll do that. If she wants to go and pay for school supplies, if she wants to use her money towards the kids' savings, or if y'all don't have kids yet, maybe she'll want to plan the honeymoon or you guys' next vacation. Like Miriam said, maybe she'll want to go put a down payment on a property. Maybe she'll want to invest, and then come and, you look at the bank account and you like, dang, that's not what I looked at when I looked at it last time. And it's because she went and invested and put back into the stock of the family. What makes guys think that she's just going to go and run off with the money and pay for everything? You're not her pimp.
Well, we
You're
we don't
right.
we don't want to use words like that, man. You know
I
what I mean?
do. I do, because that's the way y'all make it sound like she got to come and get her money and bring it back to you. She's going to provide if she's a woman.
No, yeah,
If she's like this
100%.
person said, you need to make sure you get with the grower and not a tree stump. I totally agree with that. She's going to enhance the family. She's not going to just keep it all for herself. So you won't have to look at it like, I'm paying all the bills and we're not saving. Oh, yes, you are, because your check may be gone, but you got 100% of another check right here.
Okay.
If you need.
Okay. That makes sense. It does make sense. You know what I mean? But everybody does their things differently. And there's
Mm-hmm.
different ways to be, a successful relationship or successful marriage. So, wanting somebody to pay, majority or all the bills, and that works, and it works. You know what I'm saying? And like Buddy said, intentionality is important. So talk about what you're looking for and what you need, and that's
Yeah.
what you'll get. You know what I'm saying? And that's a fact. Everybody does it different, and and just necessarily somebody doesn't agree with it, that doesn't necessarily mean they're not a grower. And that, you know what I'm saying? People just do things differently, and there's all types of successful relationships,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where we're at. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, finances. You dig? It's
Right.
important. Ain't the right, Miriam? Ain't that right, my boy?
Oh, definitely. I'm agreeing with you 100%. But also, like, the way, like, even with your perspective, and like, I'm reading the comments right now and what some of these people are saying. A lot of people have. Again, it's all about the different type of women that we're left with these days. And believe it or not, the way that you two think right now, that's rare. That's very rare in regards to, like, what a woman is doing with her finances and how she's putting it back into the relationship and trying to grow and whatnot. Not everybody's doing that.
That's a fact. That is a big fact, because you'll
You
have
need
a
to
lot
get
of
with the
people,
right one then.
and I don't want to generalize, right? We're always saying, a lot of men or a lot of women. We need to be more specific in what we're saying in regards to, how we're talking, right? There's
Right.
specific people, there's specific women, there's specific men who live a lifestyle that's not conducive for the other partner, right? That's why you see a lot of failed relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, when we're having these conversations, on your live, earlier I was like, whoa, it's generalizing. You don't want to generalize, because you can also offend somebody too, right? You want to be specific to saying specific people and their lifestyles and how they live just doesn't make a whole lot of sense for other people. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
But
earlier
that's
I
why you have
remember
to be intentional with the person that you choose to do life with, right?
facts,
You can't
very
choose
facts.
someone that has a different lifestyle than you, has a different mentality than you, and then say, well, why isn't it working? Well, you guys aren't on the same page.
That's
Communication is
facts.
big key. How are you going to get with someone just to get with someone? That's probably one of the issues we have right now is
Hmm.
materialistic issues come into play. We try to get with the best looking guy, the coolest guy, or the hottest girl, or you know what I mean? So
Right.
if we're not intentional with, hey, here's where I'm trying to go in life, here's what I'm headed towards, this is what I want to build. Are you on the same page? Are you like that's where earlier I said you have to find someone who has the same motivation and drive as you. Because if
Hmm.
you don't, you're constantly going to run into an issue.
That's
If
true.
you
And
don't have the same motive
right.
that I do in life, if you don't have the same vision, same outlook on life, it
and
doesn't matter what we try, how many therapists we go to, this isn't going to work.
but sometimes you also got to be open to new perspectives, right? So for instance, we're going to talk about you two, right? You have a specific lifestyle you want to live. You want the man to really be the man, right? That's how people think about it, right? And if for instance you do find that particular person that you want to spend a life with, and he has a different perspective on how he wants to live his life, specific to finances, because that's what I came out here for. I definitely think opening up your mind, well, not opening up your mind because that sounds kind of rude, but kind of being open to listening to what he says or he or she says is important, right? Because you don't want to be closed off into thinking one specific way, because that's how a lot of people don't find that right person. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. That's why I said communication is key. That's why I asked Jory earlier about the other girl, hey, have they talked about this?
You're right, Miriam.
Right? Because if we
You're right.
don't, even your sarcasm,
No, it's facts. You are right. I'm not disagreeing with you, because what you're saying is right, for sure.
because if
Yeah.
we're not on the same page,
Yeah. Just as important as it is to be open to other perspectives, it's important to know what you want and and what you're willing to sacrifice. Because as we talked about earlier, we've seen someone who had these desires and she compromised. Once had this, guy that was doing these things, and then it changed, and she's not happy. And so we have to know what makes us happy. And if a guy paying all the bills makes her happy, then she has to find a guy who pays all the bills.
That's facts. And
And
mhm,
and that guy will also not look at it as it being a challenge or it being, overwhelming for him, he will be excited about paying all the bills because that's what makes him feel like a man.
That's facts. And before I go eat my burger that I've been waiting on for the past 30 minutes, I
Oh,
want to
so
leave you I want to leave you guys with some inspirational quotes here, right? You know,
okay.
definitely finances is very important in a relationship, right? Because that seems to deter a lot of people in being successful and moving on into the relationship. And the only thing in life that is really guaranteed is death, right? Because we all know one day we're going to leave this earth, and that's a fact. So that's the only thing that's guaranteed. So you need to, and you want to, and you have to live your life how you want to live it, and be open to suggestions and other opportunities in regards to your partner, right? So I'm gonna leave y'all with that. I'm gonna go eat my burger because your boy hungry. You
Thank
did?
you, Jack.
Yes, sir.
Bye, Jax.
Bye. All right, my boy.
All right, my guy, you take care of yourself, brother.
Oh God.
Uh, yeah, it is getting late, guys. I know this was an awesome conversation. If y'all ever want to pick back up or you want to leave me with some topics, my DMs are always open to suggestions. But I do have a couple things that I want to leave us with as well. So I was looking on I think it's the Landon Taylor, the Landon Taylor's page, and I guess he's a relationship coach, but he had some things to say that I thought were important to hear. So he says, marry a man who wants to be a husband, not a man who just wants a wife. She needs to feel secure physically and emotionally. Your masculinity should provide a blanket of love and protection, never confusion and pain. Nothing turns a real woman on more than a man being the man he promised to be. When a woman is loved right and treated properly, her happiness and energy is on another level. It's something about feeling secure, cared for, and desired. I've learned that women aren't looking for perfect men. They're looking for consistency in a man's love, communication, loyalty, and attention. So I thought those were all beautiful quotes that could help both men and women, because women, if you're not thinking this way, you're thinking with the wrong mind. And men, if those are not things that you've come into yet thinking about, you may not find the right woman for you in this season. So any last remarks from you guys? I really appreciate you.
I just right now, I mean, I want to give you your flowers because again, I have seen you grow, and like I love what you're doing with the platform and how you're opening it up for other people to give their opinions, and in some ways you might be giving somebody knowledge, and you might be helping somebody understand that okay, maybe I need to up my standards, and in some cases maybe I need to lower my standards. I might need to do this, I might need to do that. So I love what you're doing. I want you to keep up the good work. I'll support it any way I can. I'm always here. I just appreciate you. I love you, and I'm very happy for the journey that you're going on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you
a
so much.
second Mario.
I do. You be safe. I appreciate you. I love you. And I respect you always.
I appreciate you too. Y'all have a good night. Y'all done double team me all night, so I'm gonna go
We
cry
burnt
in the
out.
car.
We love the feedback, though. We love the feedback because I think it's very rare for us to actually get to hear the men's perspective. Sorry if we talk too much,
Nah, it's all
but we
good.
appreciate your feedback for sure.
I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good night, and y'all be safe.
You too. Good night.
Good night. How do I get off this thing? I'm leaving.
Good job.
Oh, he did it.
Yeah.
Miriam, any closing remarks, my love?
It was interesting to hear both of their perspectives. I love that you did this. I love that you included me. That was pretty neat. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming. Oh,
Definitely a conversation worth having. So kudos on picking topics that really impact our daily lives
oh, thank you
and the
so much.
awesome research you do beforehand to be prepared for it. So keep up the great work. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. I love you always, respect you always, and I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to continue to see you be Miss Alpha Female.
Thank you. I just got promoted today, so I'm
Woo!
like,
Congratulations.
I'm super excited.
That's why you was on a roll.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not giving up like, I'm still trying to climb the ladder. I'm not giving it up. So
That's right. That's
I
right.
need someone who's going to support that, not someone who wants me to submit.
Exactly. I was just about to say, I don't care how much a man calls up your ladder and say, come down here and get me. Don't you move. I don't care
Right.
what you say, because you already doing it. You already doing it. Like he said, nothing is promised but death, and you are living in the way that you want to live, with or without a man. Nobody ever said we had to be in relationship. Being in a relationship does not make us any more of a woman than we are right in this very moment. So I always respect you for that. Big ups to you for continuing to push through. I've always seen you as a trailblazer, as a woman of purpose, and I will never be able to not respect that.
I appreciate that.
You are so welcome,
You
my
were
love.
right there with me, though, so don't take any credit away from yourself and all the amazing accomplishments you have accomplished in the past few years. So continue to grow, continue to work hard. We don't need men, right? That's why we are alpha females.
Yeah.
Um, but if they do want to be part of our lives, they have to understand what it is that we need and what it
Yeah.
is that requires us to continue to grow, to continue to elevate and advance, and they have to be willing to be on that ride with us. And it's not that we're closed off to it or that we're monsters or that
Mm-hmm.
we're here saying, oh, men are evil or this or that. Not at all whatsoever. We would love a good, strong man who's willing to continue to not only climb the ladder with us, but push us up the ladder so that we get there faster, right? So I don't want to get in a relationship where it's like I have to continue to babysit your ego, and when I don't, all of a sudden you break down on me. I need an
Mm-hmm.
equal. This isn't a race. This isn't competition. Like, the only type of man that you're going to be able to deal with as a strong female is a strong male who's willing to put in the work.
Mm-hmm.
So don't make excuses, don't accept excuses, and don't allow excuses to determine your future. Just continue to work hard. Obstacles are always going to be there. If they're not, then you're not pushing hard enough, right? You're not climbing high enough, fast enough. So be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Be comfortable with growing pains. Be comfortable with the everlasting and ever-changing environment that you're in. This is life.
Mm-hmm.
If it was stagnant, it'd be boring.
Yeah.
Continue to grow. So
So true.
don't apologize for being amazing.
Words
You've
of
got
wisdom.
women looking up to you. So continue to do what you're doing.
You too. Thank you so much, my love.
Love you.
Love you.
Have a good night.
You too.
Thanks,
Thank
Jay.
you so much for joining, and I will see you guys in my next live.